How's it going, David from Comic Book Investments? So in case you guys didn't know, this is kind of new. So there's a huge new collection found, which was just insane. Like, just an insane collection. And here's one of the books from it. They're calling it the Fantast Collection. I think it's a bad name, but nonetheless. And it also has Selling Superman film on it. I mean, this is quite the advertisement. CGC gave this label. If you're looking at it here, I think that's a little weird. So they gave this custom label. And of course, because, you know, there's a lot of, I'm going to go into a lot of weird things about it, but it's a new collection if you guys didn't know about this. This was the first book sold from it. It was an 8.0, sold for $1.1 million. I think I touched on my last video, but I didn't talk about the collection and the significance of this collection. Just ridiculous. So there's a bunch of videos about it, some interviews that you can watch online, but here's like
he wanted to be a good father.
Looking through photos of his father, Del Watts, Darren.
And we'll go through this and kind of talk a little bit about it. But this, basically what it is a guy had a collection. He would collect since, I don't know, for many years. He'd buy comic books and he would store it, and he wouldn't let his family go in where he stored it. They eventually had to move because he had so many comics, so they had to get a bigger spot, all this kind of stuff. And apparently it ripped their family apart. The guy ended up getting divorced. The son didn't really talk to his dad as much and went and lived with his mom, all sorts of stuff. And they weren't ever allowed to tell anyone about the comics, weren't allowed to tell their friends or talk about comics. It was like this huge hush-hush thing. And so this is kind of the story of that collection.
And his mother Celeste reflect on the impact his secret obsession had on the family.
At the beginning, you didn't seem to be hoarding anything, but the collection kind of became insidious in the house.
And, seeing my mother and father fight about it and, realizing that other parents didn't do this, this was unique to him, that it got a little bit strange for us. That's me and him.
Del was an attorney who started collecting items over 50 years ago, each of them locked and hidden in rooms for years around the family home.
Everybody knew.
So if you look back there, you can see like a Hulk 181, Iron Man 1. Now he had a bunch of good stuff. Like he has one of the, I think the second highest Superman #1. It's probably worth like $3 million or so. Just tons of good stuff. I don't know if he had these graded or if they recently had them graded. It's hard to tell.
The hoarding was embarrassing for the Watts family.
So it looks like these are CGC boxes. So I'm assuming he had them graded before because he passed in 2020. So CGC was definitely around. So he must have started getting his books graded. Yeah, because that would make sense because now they have a custom label, which I showed you earlier, of like the Fantast Collection, Selling Superman. They're making a documentary about it. I mean, I have a few choice words to say about this family and how they're seeming to go deal with it. It seems a little weird to me. Like, they're really milking it for everything. Like they're making a documentary, a straight up documentary. It has a webpage, you can go to it. And it's a documentary about this collection. And what it seems like to me is they got with Heritage and CGC. And it sounds like, what Heritage loves to do and CGC. So they give them this custom label that I showed you over here. And they're just really pumping this up because, it's a great collection. That's awesome. But they're really pushing this thing. And so they'll give it a custom label. They'll probably sell most of this stuff through Heritage and making a documentary, just really pumping up this as like the greatest collection ever type of thing. And I'm not saying that it's not, but I mean, I watched this little interview and stuff like that. They're like, the guy was like, I didn't really like my dad. And, my parents got divorced because of it. And now that the guy is dead, they're like, oh my gosh, he was so great, because they're sitting on probably like $10-15 million. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's a good thing to reconnect with my dad. And I'm like, he died only like 2-3 years ago. You could have reconnected at any point, but it seems like you're way more happy when you realize that, I just came upon like a gold mine. So maybe I'm a little cynical, but that's kind of how it seems.
And Celeste says it led to their divorce.
You just sad to live with.
He found that as a way to connect.
Darren and his mother never knew exactly what was inside the boxes. All they knew was that there may have been some popular comics. Dale Watts, who also had Asperger's, died last year, leaving his son with a collection that still leaves Darren in shock.
This is one of our 3 shipping containers full with comics, cards.
Darren says his father amassed over 1 million items in total.
They're all in incredible shape.
Look at that.
You know, he bought these all at the same time.
It's a collection
All new.
he discovered contains some of the most sought-after comic books in the world. Some so valuable, he stores them in a safe.
There's the Holy Grail right here. This is our best book.
Yeah.
Superman 1,
So it already has the label on it.
the
So that
7.0.
So I'm assuming maybe it was graded at one point, or it was ungraded and they sent it to CGC to get graded.
That's the 3rd nicest copy of this book on the planet.
Okay, 3rd.
You know? First appearance of Iron Man, ever. Looked a little different back then.
And Darren's father didn't stop there.
Pete Rose rookie card. This is the 2nd year of Mickey Mantle.
Jeez.
2nd year. You know, he didn't just stop at, you know, we have old toys, original Star Wars toys that were bought direct from the store, preserved. It was more staggering to find out that he had multiple copies of so many of these items that people just usually did not collect that way. So that power of forethought was something that I looked back and smiled on and said, geez, Dad, amazing. There might have been a plan, we just don't know what it was.
Darren,
So apparently it seems like they didn't really even talk, because, or at least about comics or in general.
is now exposing this family's secret and uncovering it to the world, traveling the country, finding that many of the comic books and other collectibles bring joy to so many people.
I mean, you know, you're completely just erasing that narrative of it being secret and hidden and prude to, hey, enjoy this, sharing it.
And it's just like a cloud has been lifted.
Yeah, I mean, they have like their Superman documentary thing on their shirts.
I mean, it's just no comparison. He's just doing the opposite of what his dad did, which was wonderful.
It's just funny looking through the old stuff of how many things are dressed up as Superman or Superman related.
Darren says he resented his father for his obsession over this collection, but now what used to bring the family shame is something that now brings great pride for Darren and his family.
See, it's like that right there. He said, oh, I resented my dad, and it brought us great shame. And now it's like, oh, I'm really happy. And it's like, yeah, because now you never have, you're going to sell this, and you just sold one comic for $1 million, and you're going to sell way more, and you'll never have to work again. And, you know, it's obviously also bringing you some fame too. It's, you know, you got a website, you're coming out with a documentary, and, you know, which is, it's just very interesting to me, like that kind of stuff. Like he didn't really talk with his dad, resented him, and now, you know, he's very happy. It kind of is like, I wish like maybe he would have talked to him before, you know, before he found out that he was a multi-millionaire and set for life. And now, of course, they're happy because they're like, oh, you know, good job, Dad. So, but fantastic collection. I don't really care for the name. Fantastic collection. So the way pedigree stuff works, usually collections like this work. The Mile High is because that's the city it's from. The Rockford, like my dad found the Rockford collection. That's because it's from, I think, Rockford, Illinois, or I don't know, somewhere. That's the name of the town. So it usually goes off of the town that it's from. Sometimes it can go off of if it's someone famous. So like there's the Nick Cage collection. There's a couple other things. Usually that's how it goes off of. It's usually a town for a collection, or if it's someone like of note, then they'll, you know, the collection of Nicolas Cage or something like that. There's a couple others like that. So they call it the Fantastic Collection, selling Superman film. It just, to me, it just, I don't know. Does it rub you the wrong way? It rubs me the wrong way. Like you're pushing your film. Like imagine if now I have a band, right? And my band's called Love Angeles. Imagine I have a collection and I get a custom label and I call it the Love Angeles Listen to My Music, download it on streaming everywhere collection. You know, check it out on Spotify. It just seems weird, right? I don't know. That's just me. To me, it just seems really, really weird to put it on the label. The Fantastic Collection, selling Superman film. It just seems like, are they getting money from like CGC and Heritage to co-do this film? Because, I mean, Heritage is very smart. So they want to pump this up as much as possible. That's why they're only selling one, right? You're wondering, why are they only selling one from this collection? Or maybe they have a couple more, but not more. Because this is what Heritage is going to do. Heritage is going to pump up this collection. So they sell one, it goes for $1 million. Breaks a record. Or I think it came close to the record or something like that. And now people are like, ooh, what's this? You know, never heard of this collection. Then they have a big blurb about it down here. So here's the book, and here's the blurb about the collection. See how much bigger it is? Then you also get, from Heritage Auctions, you get this little story about how they came up with the label and meeting with people, and it's great. So they're really pushing the story. So then what eventually is going to happen, they're going to push the story more. They'll come out with the documentary on top of that to push this collection even more, to try to pump up this collection. So when they start releasing more, it's going to be like sought after. Like, if you guys don't know, the Mile High collection is the most sought after one. And it usually, if you have like a 9.4 of a book, and then you have a 9.4 in the Mile High, it will probably go like double that. Like, people really want it. So they're trying to do the same thing. So they're trying to pump up this collection so it'll go, if a comic normally in this grade goes for like, 100,000, they're trying to get like, oh, maybe it'll go for like 200, because they're really trying to push this label from this collection, push the story, push the narrative, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, to me, it's a little weird, personally, but that's how they do business. And that's fine. It is what it is. But at least you guys know how it works. I don't think anyone on here is really going to have enough money to be buying these books that are going to be coming up for auction. Kind of crazy. So yeah, let me know if you guys have seen this fantastic collection, the Selling Superman film collection. What do you think about it? I mean, do you like the label? Do you like the name of the collection? Do you like the fact that they're basically advertising a documentary? This label is literally just an advertisement now, and might as well put McDonald's on it. Have it your way. Bring this label in, and you'll get 2 for 1 on a Big Mac. That's like, to me, that's how I see it. It looks like an advertisement. It actually is off-putting. Plus, the label's not even that great looking. I'd rather have a picture of Batman up there, or something going on, or how about Bob Kane or something like that. Something. So let me know what you guys think. I'm really curious. Am I just like way off base here, thinking that this label seems kind of like an advertisement, which is kind of like, why is it on there then? Like, I don't really care for that. Also, let me know like what you think about the, this guy and this family, what they went through, and then now they're like, oh, we hated our dad for it. Now we love him. Like, that to me seems odd. Like, I don't know. Am I off base here? That's just like kind of like how I feel about it. Because they're a little happy now that their dad left them with tens of millions of dollars or whatever he left them with, however much this collection is. And now this guy is going around everywhere, and he obviously quit his job, because if he had a job before, it's like, what do you have time? All of a sudden you have a 9-to-5 job, and now you have to do this whole collection full time, this documentary full time, and going from different conventions and all this stuff, which is fun and awesome. But obviously you must have had to quit your job, which you could easily do. You sell one of these, boom, you don't have to work for a while. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the collection. Is this something that you're willing to pay more than the going rate, than the fair market value for a pedigree like this? Have a good day.